Hi folks. A few of you have asked, what the latest is on the Aplomado, so I thought I'd bring you up to date. As you may recall, the last couple of videos, the bird flew out the window on a dead grackle. Well, I wanted to do that one more time before I tried it in real life. And I was fortunate enough to wing shoot a male grackle. And I was excited about that in the sense that it would be alive and moving around and all that sort of stuff. In fact, I was so excited, believe it or not, that I woke up the night before and couldn't get back to sleep thinking about it. Oh my God. But anyway, I went out there and I had the grackle at a slip knot. I tethered the bird with a slip knot and had a weight on it, and I surreptitiously put it out the window and drove off and turned around, and he just sat there. He just sat there. And that was very disappointing. That was very disappointing to me, because I had high hopes. I really did. So the bird now is in Florida with another falconer who is going to take him to fruition, and who is diligently working at that as we speak. And he likes the bird. The bird likes him, so things have worked out all the way around. Now, some of you may ask, Bill, why in God's name didn't you just keep going? Why didn't you just take this bird to fruition yourself? And that's a fair question. It truly is. And here are the reasons. Number one, as I've mentioned before, well, let me put it this way. We all remain in falconry. We remain in falconry because it gives us a certain reward, some sort of reinforcement, or we wouldn't be doing it. And mine, as I've said, takes place in the field. That's where it happens, out there in the field. It does not take place during training at all. I just, as I've said many times, I do not appreciate having to train these birds. It's just a means to an end as far as I'm concerned. So I do have a limitation. I have a limit there. That it's not a predetermined limit or anything like that. I just know when I hit it. And I hit it with this bird. Now the other reason is because, I've never had a live male grackle in my hand before. And I was somewhat impressed with, first of all, they have a pretty formidable beak on them. The females are smaller and in fact noticeably smaller, not quite as large, but the males have a formidable beak, and he, when I had him in my hand, worked on it, and he got my attention. It wasn't excruciating pain or anything like that, but like I say, he got my attention. So I got to thinking about that, and they're very exacting with that beak. That they know how to use it. For example, the bird finally was able to open the knot, the slip knot, get that slip knot open, and not just a little bit. I mean, he opened it. It was about that big, and he was just stepped out of it. So They know how to use that beak, and they're smart. They're definitely smart. Probably related to the crow, I would imagine. But anyway, it got me thinking about what would happen if the Aplo, which is about the same size as the male grackle, what would happen if he did not get control of that head right away? I think, and I don't know this for sure, of course, but I think that bird would go for the eyes. I really do. They're smart enough to probably figure it out. That's the best thing to do, and like I say, they're very exacting with that beak. So that's one reason. I would have felt real bad if this bird would have lost an eye because I was out there flying on these grackles. So that was one reason. Now, or that's actually two reasons, isn't it? That's the second reason. The third reason is I know for a fact, not because I've been told this, but I know for a fact that very few of these birds turn out to be what you would consider to be outstanding. They just don't. And there's nothing wrong with mediocre birds. I've flown a few of those, that's for sure. There's nothing wrong with them. You go out there and you have fun with them and whatnot, so I'm not suggesting that anything there. But because I'm, getting up there in years and don't have a whole lot of years left, I really want to spend my time with, a bird that I truly admire. And that was in the back of my mind too. In other words, you go through all this and it turns out to be a mediocre bird or whatnot. That's always there. That's always in the back of my mind. And then the other thing that haunted me was what Harry McElroy said, and that was that most of these male Aplomado falconries, or male Aplomados, don't turn on to birds of any kind until December, sometime in December. And I was not going to wait that long. I just wasn't. There's no way I was going to do that. So those are my reasons, and I'm sticking to them. Just so you know, and can sleep at night without having to, wonder about this. Now, what else? Let's see, there was something else that I wanted to tell you. For those of you that are considering buying an Aplomado, let me share with you something something about this bird that may be indicative of the species in general. And that is that this bird was rock solid. He is the most solid bird I've ever flown. There's no two ways about it. Nothing shook him up. The people, the dogs, the car, riding in the car. There's just nothing that. And when he was perched on his perch in the house, he didn't bait, just kind of hung out. Like I say, the only thing he hated, absolutely hated, was the hood. Man, he resented that hood. Something awful. And of course, I didn't hood him except to change the batteries in the transmitter. But his saving grace was that after, he got over it, and he held no grudges. And to me, that was a real plus. So I just share that with you. I can see how these birds why these birds are popular. You know, I really can. I may try another one in the future. It would be a female, though. I don't think I would do the male. Not that males are bad birds, obviously, but I just would want one a little bigger. Okay, so that's that. And then finally, this is going to be my last video. Well, I shouldn't say that. My next to last video. I've pretty much done all that I wanted to do, but I want to do one more when I get my hands on a soar Cooper's hawk. I learned from that last one, and I want to put the lessons I learned to use and see what happens. And so I want to film that and share it with you. So that will be my last one, but it's in no time soon, obviously. Okay, so let me thank all of you for watching these videos. I appreciate it. Excuse me, damn, not asthma, allergies. So anyway, I really do appreciate you watching, and I hope they were helpful in some way to at least some of you. That would be great. So thanks a lot. And with that being said, I'll see you downwind.